It's one of the stories I like to say is that even when my kids are older now, but when I would drop them off at daycare when I was going to work, I always felt like I didn't feel like a bad mom because I felt like I was giving back to the community, right? It was very rewarding helping a person hear better, helping them on their better hearing journey, really counseling and just walking that path with them. Because for some, it is very, very difficult, that acceptance.
Absolutely. I feel sometimes like I'm doing too much or giving too much time to my career. But my kids are extremely understanding. My son had me come speak to his class about hearing loss this year, and he was just beaming with pride. So I felt, you were like you said, you don't have to feel bad because you are helping people, and they see that.
Welcome back to Hear Me Out with Belinda. Today, I'm interviewing a colleague in the hearing industry, hearing instrument specialist, Bobbi-Jo. Welcome in the studio, Bobbi-Jo.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, welcome. I'm looking forward to an interesting conversation today.
Yeah.
So let's start off with it's my understanding that you yourself have a hearing loss.
Yes. I think I got hearing aids around sometime around 10 years old.
10 years old. And I think if I remember, there's a little bit of a story to you getting your first set of hearing aids with your dad working in the industry. Would you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah, so my mom wore hearing aids and my dad got into the hearing aid industry on the manufacturing side so that he could fix her hearing aids if they ever broke, and support her from that side. And one night he was at home tinkering with an audiometer, and he decided to test it if it was working on me. And it wasn't anything drastic, but it was some hearing loss, especially for a child. But of course, he wasn't sure the audiometer was working. So the next day I went to work with him, and the rest is history.
And the rest is history. But with having your mom with a hearing loss, I guess it was normal in your family. So you didn't.
Yeah, and I don't think that anyone really noticed because good communication habits were the norm at home. And somebody not hearing you was also very normal, and everyone was very patient with that. And we all spoke very loudly for my mom anyways, and we also had captions on our TV and amplified telephones. Everything was hearing impaired friendly. So I just think that there wasn't a whole lot of red flags for those reasons.
Yeah. And then for you, it was very normal to have a hearing loss in your family circumstance.
Yes, there's about 10 of us on my mom's side that wear hearing aids. So they were very excited when I got into this industry to have their own personal person to call when they're having issues, which, as you know, is quite common to have questions and
Yes.
troubleshoot. And yeah.
Yeah. And is that why you went and became a hearing instrument specialist? Is because of the family history?
Well, it definitely helps to have somebody still in the industry. When my dad retired, a few years went by, and then I lost my hearing aids. And I just sort of realized that I was going to need hearing aids for many decades. And I had just finished my undergraduate and I was wondering what to do with my life. So I did a summer placement at a hearing aid manufacturer just to see what it was like. And I've been there ever since. It's been 15 years and I absolutely love it.
That's wonderful. It is a really incredible industry to work in. It's very rewarding.
Extremely rewarding. And even just working for the manufacturer building hearing aids, every step of the way, I don't think you don't lose sight of what you're really doing. You're helping people.
Yeah.
You're very in touch with it.
Yeah, and because also we're changing lives. One of the stories I like to say is that even when my kids are older now, but when I would drop them off at daycare when I was going to work, I always felt like I didn't feel like a bad mom because I felt like I was giving back to the community, right? It was very rewarding helping a person hear better, helping them on their better hearing journey, really counseling and just walking that path with them. Because for some, it is very, very difficult, that acceptance.
Absolutely. I feel sometimes like I'm doing too much or giving too much time to my career, but my kids are extremely understanding. My son had me come speak to his class about hearing loss this year, and he was just beaming with pride. So I felt, you were like you said, you don't have to feel bad because you are helping people, and they see that.
And they see that. Yeah. Okay. And so you've also written a book. It's on motivational interviewing, I believe.
Yes, yeah, it just came out in October.
And so tell me a little bit about that. How did the book come about?
It came out very organically. I took a class, and throughout the class, there were several reflection pieces, and you had to keep applying each aspect of motivational interviewing to your career experience. And I saw all the puzzle pieces coming together. I saw this, and I could explain it with this. And by the end of the course, I had written so much material tying what I had learned into things I had seen every day in this industry. It just felt very powerful, but I didn't know what to do with it. And then when I started teaching at the college, other hearing instrument specialists, I really found those experiences fundamental to teaching counseling concepts. And I just kept drawing from it and drawing from it. And eventually I decided I want to write this down for my students um, in a coherent way, because sometimes when you're lecturing, it doesn't always come out perfectly. And so it just came from me wanting to help my own students. And I've been very excited to see that the rest of the world is also interested in it.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, what is motivational interviewing?
It The name is misleading. I know it sounds like perhaps you're hiring somebody and you're doing a job interview or something like that. But motivational interviewing is simply when you're having a conversation with someone, anyone, um, uh, wants to make a healthy change. So if I were to say to you, I would like to eat better, or I want to get on a better sleep schedule, and it's conversations we're having all the time with our friends, our family. When somebody says, "Hey, I would like to do this," it's a very special skill set that allows you to navigate that conversation in a way that your friend, family member, peer, or patient is feeling empowered to go ahead and make that choice.
Right. I think you just because even like you said with food changes, um, not just hearing, when somebody needs to make that change, I think a lot of people are looking for the easy button. We live in a fast-paced world where the easy button is often available, but the easy button doesn't always work. So it's really, I guess it's motivational interviewing is really encouraging those positive outcomes, right? So yes, you're going to have to put in a bit of hard work, or you're going to have to make these changes that could be difficult, but that positive outcome is going to be XYZ, and that's where the beauty is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it has a lot of potential, even like I said, in our social life, to make sure that we're just having the best conversations with the people we love and we want the best things for them, to be able to help them sort out when they're feeling, two ways about something and make a decision that they really feel empowered by is a wonderful tool.
Absolutely. And so for yourself, where do you think you're going to be going with the motivational interviewing? Are you going to be doing some guest speaking on it?
I've done a little bit just within the hearing care industry to help maybe spread the word a little bit, make sure that everyone knows the term so that if they wanted to look it up and research it themselves, they could. Um, and then, of course, I'm hoping that people will be interested enough to look at the book or some other resource, whatever resource it is that they want to learn more. But if you don't know it exists, you don't know to look. There's also an online course that helps individuals as well. But my overall goal for myself would be to the research side of things. The ideas fit so nicely with our industry. It's one thing to say that and to look at how well it fits and complements our industry, but I would love to follow that up with some research that says the same sort of thing, hopefully.
So like some in-clinic research with the better outcomes with motivational interviewing.
Exactly, where we would potentially, hopefully, train some clinicians in this method, and then just check in. How are your patients doing, and see whether we're improving patient outcomes with this strategy.
Do you ever use motivational interviewing on your kids?
I don't think so. I think that might be why I enjoy writing about it and talking about it is I'm quite relieved to not have to do it because maybe I wouldn't be the best at it. I think it's quite difficult. But I do have a teenage boy where there's been moments I reflect on how that would have been a better way to have the conversation. It's difficult when you're a mom, I think. We have very normal communication patterns with the ones we love, and I think that breaking those communication patterns is not as easy as it sounds.
I don't think it is as easy as it sounds, but I was just thinking of those real life interactions where motivational interviewing could even just help around the dinner table where you're trying to encourage your kid to maybe study for that math exam, and go over the positive outcomes of, if you give up the video games tonight and you spend that hour studying, um, the positive outcomes will be, you'll get a better grade, you'll feel better about yourself, you'll have more confidence going into the next grade, which is really, I think, what motivational interviewing is and can be applied in any aspect.
Yeah, for sure.
You'd agree
Definitely.
with that?
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, and then tell me just a little bit more about yourself. You said you're a single mom, so you're definitely a career person. How do you make it all work and fit together?
Um, I think that it's works for me because I absolutely love everything I'm juggling. For me, the hardest part is sort of putting something aside so that I can do something else that day. I'm trying to do everything simultaneously all the time. But budgeting my time has helped. And just, waking up early or working late. I'm very lucky that, even with my research, and my marking for school and teaching, it's all very flexible, right? So I can do it in the evening or the morning. And yeah.
So you manage to find time for your family, your friends, and then all your work and everything within the day.
Yes, and it helps also getting to work from home. So even though I'm working, I'm still around my family, and I can take 10 minutes here or there and have a conversation. It's very different than if I had been away from the home all that time. So that helps.
Yeah. And how do you feel with the woman in business, right? Doing all these extra things, writing the book. How do you feel the community is embracing you now?
It's so hard to say. I feel like I have a group of people who lift me up, who cheer me on. I have a few best friends who I think I could do no wrong in their eyes, which is always empowering, even if it's not true. But at the same time, I feel like the more I make myself vulnerable and I try to produce things to put out into the world, I feel that vulnerability. I've had a few individuals perhaps not agree with my view or my take, and that's something that you have to be willing to open yourself up to. And I don't know, that's been a little bit scary for me.
Yeah, I think when you're putting yourself out into the world, you have to know that not everybody's going to like either you or your thoughts and opinions, and and so there will be some negativity or some pushback on that, some comments, I guess, especially in this modern world with social media.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
been an adjustment, but overall it's been very positive. I do think that the hearing instrument specialist community, especially here in Ontario, but I have to say even Alberta and BC has been extremely warm and welcoming to me at their conferences, so that's been great.
that's good. And you've been speaking at those conferences.
Yeah, in Alberta and then in BC, and then I did Ontario this spring. So it's been the best thing for me is carrying this conversation to different groups of people, but then also seeing we're all having the same experiences. Maybe not the exact same, but we're all encountering the same sorts of conversations in clinics. So I really do think it has a broad application in our industry.
Three. Yeah. Can we change the subject to Wally for a moment now?
Sure.
So, so I think I saw a Facebook post where you took, you have an incubator. Was it for ducks that you were incubating originally?
Yes, yeah, we have a husband and wife duck, and every spring we let them hatch a few babies. So we help along with the incubator. Um, yeah, and then when the ducks hatched, we had some eggs from the store, and I thought, you know what, let's see if we'll hatch chickens from these store-bought eggs. And sure enough, 29 days later or 21 days later, we had a chicken.
And his name is Wally.
His name is Wally.
And he's just running free outside now with the ducks.
Yes. Yes, he's trying to fit in the flock, but he's a little bit small and not quite sure of himself yet or herself.
I love that story. I think it's just growth from anywhere, right? It's like nature at its best. I think it's just amazing.
This might sound fake, but it's not. It occurred to me that a lot of people said it's impossible. You can't hatch an egg from a store that's been refrigerated or whatever. And I didn't look up whether it was possible before I did it. I just did it, right? I was
Yeah.
like, wouldn't this be cool? And, if I had looked at the odds or the internet and I had Googled it, I probably wouldn't have done it. And it just was a little bit of a reminder to me to just do stuff. Um, I think I've taken some chances with my career and personal life as well that I just maybe don't ask opinion, I don't Google, I just do it if it feels right. And there's maybe a little testimony to that.
Actually, I think that's why I wanted to bring up the story of Wally, because I remember seeing it online on your Facebook post. And that's exactly was inspirational because exactly that. If you had listened to Google's where they would have said no, you probably never would have tried it, right? But there's no harm in trying something when you have the tools. Um, and we can relate anything to that. I think I was talking to my husband about it to Wally, the inspiration of Wally. We'll have to show a picture of Wally on the podcast. But the, he brought up the 4-minute mile. And before people were running the mile in over 4 minutes, everybody said if you run faster, you're going to have a heart attack. You're going to push your body, you're going to break down. So everybody was afraid to do that. And they had this barrier or this limitation, mentally and physically on actually doing it until the first person did it. And then I can't remember the exact stats, but within a week, several other people had done it as well. So when you push past those limitations that, society or you've put on yourself, that's where it is. That's where you can really break out and these great ideas come from.
Yeah, no, I agree. Sometimes just take a chance, apply for the job, your dream job, or, sign up for the program or the thing you always wanted to learn, or send a book application to a publisher, and you never know, somebody will sometimes bite.
Somebody will sign up. I think this conversation has gone from hearing instruments, being inspired to help the hearing impaired community, to taking a chance, writing a book, and just believing that anything is possible, which I think is a really cool conversation that we had.
Yeah, I think so too. I think when you like genuinely love what you do, but you're also coming at it from a place of how can I help people, the worst that can happen is somebody says no, but you just know you believe in your own mission enough, right?
That's it. Bobbi-Jo, is there anything else you wanted to let our viewers know today? How do they get hold of your book if they're interested in that?
It is available online from the publisher, Plural Publishing. If you live here in Canada and you're a little concerned about buying from the States, you can always reach out to me directly. There's a few other options there.
No. Well, thank you so much. I think we had a lovely conversation. I really enjoyed speaking with you. And yeah, thank you for sharing your story, your better hearing journey with me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.